Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to Sharin no Kuni, Yukyu no Shounenshoujo. So I took an hour break, and I am back. We are at Hozuki Ari's office, trying to give her the documents to cancel Mina's obligation. Last time, she also released the sexual rapist prisoner or whatever that we haven't met yet. We're probably gonna meet him right now, right? I mean, I assume so. So let us continue. We, I guess along with Saburo, we visit Hozuki early the next morning. Or maybe with Mina.
3人ともおはよう。
Oh, all three of us. Okay, good.
おはようございます。本日はよろしくお願いします。
Saika-san was the only one to return her greeting.
囚人はいたか？
昨日探してたんですけどね。簡単には見つかりませんね。
そうか。いずれ捕まるだろう。今、中央の警察から特別に治安維持担当課の局員を集めている。
Public security. This is more serious than I thought.
知っていたか？彼らは本来はテロなどの集団犯罪に対応する部署だが、はっきり言って無能の集まりでな。暇を持て余しているんだ。
She had connections with the upper echelons of the police. I couldn't take this woman lightly.
試験が終わったら彼らをお前に任せてもいいぞ。エリート集団に仕立て上げてくれ。
I would be honored. What nonsense.
試験が無事に終わればいいな。
She glanced at Saika-san.
ところで、サイカミーナ。
はい、
阿久津はどうだ？
素晴らしい人です。
She snorted.
仕事ぶりを尋ねたつもりだったのだがな。
Is there a problem? I butted in despite myself.
いや、問題はないぞ。どうした阿久津？
Hmm?
そんなに私を睨みつけなくてもいいだろう。
That was not my intent. She was definitely playing around with me again. Ah yes, I've decided to submit the application for the cancellation of Saika-san's obligation. I presented the documents I had prepared.
サイカミーナは十分に構成しているというのだな。
She didn't even look at them.
構成も何も、もともと悪い子じゃなかったっすよ。
つまり、お前たちは特に仕事をしたわけではないというのだな。
Yes, it's about what it comes down to.
愚かな。
Her smile suddenly disappeared.
いいか？貴様らは重大な勘違いをしている。この女は
She pointed directly at Saika-san.
罪人なのだ。すべての国民から愛されなければならない人間がくだらん移民音楽などに傾倒し、がさつな言葉を覚え、その詩を発表し、最下の亀を傷つけたのだ。
Saika-san retreated in fright. It could not escape the back of Hosuke's hand. What did you just...
女を殴るなど人間のすることではないか？
Would you mind explaining the reasoning behind your actions? I couldn't believe my eyes.
少女はいついかなる時でも愛想を見せねばならんのではないか？たとえ私のような悪人に無意味に殴られようとも笑っていなければならんのではないか？
It's true.
都会に戻ればこんなものでは済まんぞ。ドロドロした旧家のしきたり、ヒステリックな婦人たちの妬みと中傷がお前を待ち受けているのだ。そら、笑え。笑えと言っている。
すみません。
She tried her best to form her trembling lips into a smile.
どうした？ 不快だぞ私は。お前のように甘やかされて育った女を見ると実に気分が悪い。なあ阿久津よ、お前がシュランの養父を警戒して夜も眠れなかった時、こいつは暖かいベッドで熟睡していたのだ。
So what? What? Disgusting words. Disgusting words meant to plant a seed of resentment within the very recesses of my being. Her mouth certainly resembled a grin, with her eyes.
張り付いた笑顔だな。まるで病気のようだ。お似合いだぞ。
She laughed sadistically. Haven't you had enough of this? Is she still making you feel unpleasant?
いや、優越感に満ち溢れているぞ。神職の家の者を殴った移民は私くらいだろうな。
Special high-class individuals are allowed to employ violence in their rehabilitation of criminals.
罪人というものはごく一部の極悪人がマスコミを騒がすだけで、そのほとんどが普段は善良な人間なのだ。この少女のようにな。だから我々は騙されてはいけない。お前たちがいい子だと認めている人間は過去に犯罪を犯したのだ。
Yes, that was certainly true.
お前たちが何も仕事をしなかったのであれば、サイカミーナはまた同じ罪を犯す。
From a logical standpoint, she was absolutely correct. Saika-san was an elegant and spirited girl. Had she truly received any punishment other than having a man watch her in the toilet and while bathing? Could you really call it guidance if she hadn't been met with enough punishment to ensure that she never desired to hold her obligation ever again?
わかったか？わかったら真面目に仕事をしろ。私を殺そうとするより先にな。
She directed those words at Saburo. He must have been watching for an opening the entire time.
やはり阿久津の方が賢いな。
We left the room, at a loss as for what to do. I mean, being smart doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, we're... man! Being led around, like, at the palm of our hands is so... It kind of sucks when you think too much and your opponent thinks the same way as you, or even, like, a few steps ahead of you. They just already know what's gonna happen. Sometimes I wish that I had a bit of more emotional attachment like Saburo here. Because he's like a human bomb, right? You can't really know when that emotion is gonna burst forth. Like, because any little thing can actually trigger him. He's like the undeciding factor that we don't know what's gonna happen. At least in terms of, like, you know, playing through her plan.
なんとかなったと思わないか?
Saburo came to me as we were exiting the room. Done something.
天帝の悪逆無道を阻止できたって。
Her gun was lying right there on her desk.
え?
Didn't you notice? The entire time she was beating Saika-san, she never moved out of arm's reach of her gun. She was waiting for us to try something.
でも二人がかりなら。
He stopped mid-sentence and shook his head.
いや、天帝は拳銃の鬼だったな。
Well, then again, if, like, Saburo was, like, going through with his violent streaks, he might have died just then and there. I don't know, maybe dying like that wouldn't be so bad, rather than suppressing yourself. What do I know? The memory of his fallen comrades was still fresh in his mind.
胸に2発、脳天に1発ずつ。みんなちょっとのズレもなかったもんな。
He sighed.
天帝と知り合ったのはさ、射撃訓練の時だったんだよ。
Oh, so she was the instructor.
その時はすんげえ話のわかる人でさ、完全に萌えキャラだと思ってたのに。
Even if we had managed to defeat her, we would not have been able to get away with it for long. Miss Hozuki is a woman of slight stature. In terms of physical strength, we are obviously superior to her. Which was probably exactly why she had put so much time into learning how to use a gun. However, Hozuki has the strength of an entire country behind her. We are but two individuals. Saburo looked very dissatisfied.
クールだね。まったくおっしゃる通りだわ。
I mean, I have a few schemes of my own, but we needed to wait for the right opportunity.
すみませんでした。私のせいで。
ミーナちゃんは何も悪くねえよ。なあ、マサオミ。
I stared dumbly at Saika-san. She was already behaving cheerfully again, like nothing had ever happened.
おい、マサオミ。
Yes, I'm the one at fault here, Saika-san.
いや、別にお前のせいでもないんだが。なんかシリアスだわ。俺帰るわ。任せるわ。
He clicked his tongue and left. What a selfish guy.
試験長引いてしまいましたね。
I suppose I'll be imposing upon your hospitality for a while longer. What is it?
すみません。
Why are you apologizing?
まだしばらく阿久津さんと一緒にいられるのかと思って。
Huh?
なんでもないです。
Her expression was too complicated for me to make any guesses as to her current state of mind. Would you like to take today off as well? Your face is covered in bruises.
いいえ、2日も休んでは学園の皆さんに迷惑をかけてしまいますので。
Pushing yourself like this for the sake of others is not... You should really not finish that sentence. I bit my lip. Nothing. Never mind. Her obligation required her to do just that.
阿久津さんが私を気遣ってくださるのが分かってとても恐縮です。
You needn't be. My job wasn't to babysit her. But I said to class then. I was a special high-class individual. My job was to provide guidance to criminals. The students crowded around Saika-san as soon as we entered the classroom. They all seemed quite concerned over her absence.
クワップなどと意味不明な規制を上げてしまってとても恥ずかしかったです。
Her words and smile were modest. The residents of this town were kind. Normally, a criminal bearing an obligation would be an object of contempt. One would find nary a semblance of punishment in her daily life. What then was my job?
阿久津さんは数学が得意なのですね。
I suppose.
昔からですか？
Yes, you could say that. Unlike foreign languages or history, questions involving mathematics are simple to answer without the aid of a textbook.
私は全く逆ですね。自分で考える問題が多い数学よりも暗記するだけでなんとかなる外国語や歴史の方が得意です。
I would say I'm fairly decent at both, but I am a bit better at memorizing things myself. Well, children of well-to-do families are at a bit of an advantage when it comes to scholarship. Excuse me, that comment may have made it seem that I envy you. I grinned sarcastically.
嫉妬ですか？
Do not worry about it. I have no reason for concern, let alone envy.
私に関心もないと？
Yes. I mean to say that there is no need for us to even compare each other. She blinked.
阿久津さんが私に全く関心がないのは寂しいなと思ったんです。
She said she was a bit lonely. Not disappointed, I think. I was suddenly reminded of our conversation in the bathroom yesterday. The next class is beginning soon. Nothing particularly notable happened for the rest of the day. We arrived home around dusk.
夕飯にはまだ早いですね。
Saburo was probably out engaging in tomfoolery again.
何かお話ししませんか？
What would I have to do to cancel this girl's obligation? Then please allow me to ask you something.
はい。どんなことでもお答えします。
She sounded rather lively. Do you feel inconvenienced in your daily life by the fact that you are burdened with an obligation? She looked at me quizzically. I do not mind if you voice a complaint. This is guidance being applied for the sake of your rehabilitation.
そうですね。やはり入浴の時とお手洗いの時が不自由といえば不自由です。
I thought as much. Is that it? Let me say this as clearly as possible. If you do not feel complete resentment toward the idea of ever bearing this obligation again, there is a possibility for you to become a repeat offender.
もちろん私が義務を負っているせいで私の家や靴さんに迷惑をかけているのはたまらなく辛いことです。
Thank you.
私はどうすればよいのでしょうか。
She was not permitted to have hobbies or close friends. Furthermore, she was forced to spend all of her time with a man such as myself. That alone should have been unbearable for a girl of her age. Does my constant surveillance not make you feel uncomfortable? But Saika-san merely shook her head and gave me a smile.
いいえ、とても安心できます。
I heaved a sigh. Had I been too soft on her after all? Was it not fitting to treat criminals as such? The sun vanished beyond the horizon before I could find answers to my questions. Criminals, huh? Saburo came back after we finished dinner. He was holding an odd bundle in his arms.
ただいまっす。
おかえりなさいませ。
Hey!
おう、正臣。お役目ご苦労。
It was nothing short of a miracle that a man this lax had not already been disposed of by Miss Hozuki. More importantly, what exactly is that?
ん？
What are you holding? Whatever it was wrapped in a towel.
こいつか？
He displayed it with a brazen smile.
赤ちゃんですか？
The hell? What? Is this yours?
拾ってきました。
拾ってきたんですか？
育てるぜい。
ゾイって。
My head was starting to hurt. Explain, now.
人さらいです。
You're under arrest.
嘘です。雪の降る夜、教会に捨てられていましたので。
It is currently summer.
町に教会はないですよ。
川の近くに捨てられていたんだよ。
Then look for its parents.
もらってあげてくださいとの書き置きがあったんだよ。
It's your only impetus for becoming its parent?
はい。
Need I remind you that we are in the midst of the special high-class individual exam? This is no time for such diversions.
困っている人を見過ごすわけにはいかねえ。ましてや赤ん坊ならなおさらのことだ。
I can do without your platitudes.
とにかくこの子は俺たちの子供だ。
Ours?
俺とお前。
I think we will have a hard time explaining that one to them when they grow up.
どっちのお父さんから生まれたのとか聞かれたら最高に幸せだと思う。
I'm not sure I share your sentiments.
母親役はミーナちゃんにやってもらうから。
私ですか？どうしていいかわかりませんが。
とりあえず母乳を与えてくれればいいと思う。
出ませんけど。
Please calm down and look at this rationally. Do you seriously expect immature people like us to become parents? We could not shrink in our duty of supervising Saika-san either.
あのまま川に放っておいたら死んじまってたぞ。
Try finding someone in the town to look after it.
昨日、一昨日とその前とずっと探してたんだがな。
past few days? What the hell? Huh? He hadn't been out cavorting with women?
なんかよ、この子の親があれでよ。だから、この子もあれがあれだから育てたくないってよ。
What the fuck are you talking about, dude? I did not know what that he was referring to was, but the despair and anger painted on his face told me enough. There are no other options then. Oh well, might as well just go along with it. We will take responsibility for raising this child.
分かってくれたか？心の友よ。
He agreed to it fairly easily, didn't he? I'll help you raise the child, but I have no particular confidence in my ability to do so. You can consider it yours.
まあいいでしょ。ミーナちゃんもいいね。
頑張りますよ。可愛いですしね。
Yet another bit of trouble for us to deal with. What a guy. A boisterous atmosphere filled the house as the night wore on. Saika-san was currently feeding warm milk to the baby.
はい、なんでしょ
I looked up from the book I was reading.
重大なことを忘れていませんか？
う。奇遇だね。俺も同じことを考えていたのだよ。
この子、名前は何というのでしょうか？
そうなんだよ。書き置きには名前はなかったんだよ。
Then it would appear we are the people most suitable to assign it a name. To assigning it a name.
その回りくどい言い回し。お前、名前をつけてみたいんだろ？
Not particularly. Such foolishness.
でも、阿久津さんの名前、正臣ってすごいですよね。
将軍に大臣だからな。いかついにも程がある。それに引き換え俺なんかよ、適当につけられたとしか思えないんだよね。
And? What are we going to do about the name?
お、興味ないようなふりしてたのに。
It will be inconvenient if you do not decide upon a name. You want to call it Baby or something? Just then, the baby yawned in Saika-san's arm.
じゃあ、俺が決めるかな。
Wait.
なんだよ。
Please be aware that they will have to deal with your joke name for the entire life.
バレたか。
阿久津さん、何かありませんか？
I closed my eyes and pretended to think about it. I'd already decided on a few candidates while reading my novel earlier, but announcing them immediately would not be any fun. I needed to lead into it. We need to choose a name that combines strength, beauty, and dignity.
ほほー、そうきましたか。
ワクワク。
She's like, waiting patiently. She's not saying tell us. I glanced in their direction and spoke casually. What do you think of Himiko? As I'm sure you know, I took the name from the queen in those novels. I feel the name sends a powerful message about how women, too, can seize power in our male-dominated society.
いや、男だから。
Huh?
男。
男の子です。
Such foolishness.
どうして女の子だと思われたんですか？
初めての子供は女の子って決めてたんだよ。そっとしておいてやれよ。
Though his tone was a bit disparaging, he was essentially correct.
じゃあ、一人一文字ずつつけていこうじゃないか。
なんかいいですね。ちょうど3文字になるわけですか？
俺からでいいか？
Feel free.
あ、
This was shaping up to be a quite orthodox name. Is it my turn?
出しゃばんなよ。ミーナちゃんの番だ。
そうですね。ですから。迷いますね。
Allow me to take your place.
出しゃばんなっての。
すみません。やっぱり最後にしてください。
See? She let me take over.
威張るな。
After A, we'll have... I struck my chin. Ki, I suppose. That gives us Aki.
では 最後はおです。秋代くんです。
あ、なんかいいんじゃないの？秋代っていう感じな感じ？
No, I don't like that.
なんでだよ。
Well, it would be a bit odd to have the name Autumn if you were born in the middle of summer.
じゃあ夏男でいいんか？
Simply changing the kanji from autumn to summer is a bit unsophisticated.
まあ樋口さん、もう一度やってみませんか？
そうだな。いろいろ候補を出してみよ
We began once more.
う。じゃあ行くぞ。つ
Su, then Ba.
ではさです。翼くんです。
あ、いいかもしれないね。大空に羽ばたいていくロマンを感じるよ。
No, I think we should continue.
またかよ。なんでだ？
Nothing in particular.
わがままか。
阿久津さん、意見させていただいてもよろしいでしょうか？
おう、言ってやれ。
3人で決めている以上、完全に自分の思い通りにはならないと思うのです。
You act as if I am the one at fault here.
おめえが悪いんだっての。
Shh. Such foolishness.
じゃあ最後な。け。おい、マチャオミの番だぞ。
I'm done.
飽きんなよ。
Like I said, this name will be with the boy his entire life. That is exactly why I want it to be perfect. However, Saika-san is correct. As long as all three of us have input, it'll never turn out perfectly.
すねんなよ。
しかしですね、名前そのものよりも3人で決めたということに意味があるのではないでしょうか。3人の子供という意思が伝わってくるのではありませんか？
You're right. Well, whatever. As foolish as this was, it had been rather enjoyable. I'm done. He is your child, so name him as you wish.
たく、すねちゃまね。
ケに続けそうなのは
You already know. You already know. Saika-san made certain not to disrupt our harmony from beginning to end.
です。
じゃあ、ケンだな。
ケンくんです。
じゃあ、早速漢字を当てていこう。
ワクワク。
Ken then. A while later, as we were engaging in some idle chat, Saika-san suddenly spoke up.
阿久津さん、そろそろ
Time for you to bathe, right? She bit her lip.
昨日言いましたように樋口さんに代わっていただくわけには。
え、俺？
Saburo was holding Ken.
なんだよ、お前ら喧嘩でもしたのか？
とんでもないです。
That isn't even possible.
ああ、そうだな。義務だもんな。喧嘩したりして相手を怒らせちゃまずいよな。おい、ケン。子供なら子供らしく泣いたり笑ったりせんか。
Ken remained silent.
可愛くねえガキだな。そんなんじゃ俺の子は務まらんぞ。
I had to admit, he was rather quiet for a child. My apologies, Saika-san, but I will be denying your request for the time being.
はい。
She nodded, a bit down about it. Miss Hosuke's guidance this morning made me reconsider granting it. My duty was most important right now. Our life together thus far has been too normal, one could say.
普通ですか？
Almost as if the two of us were friends.
友人ですか？
Her mouth dropped open in surprise. Well, there is no law prohibiting special high-class individuals from being friends with rehabilitees. I looked away.
すみません。なんだかお気を煩わせてしまっているみたいで。
No, it's not it. I was being too vague. I'll make this simple. I spoke with the intent of causing her pain. You are a criminal, and thus you should suffer as a criminal should. Ken suddenly met my gaze. Oh, sorry. Ken suddenly met my gaze.
おい、
Saburo glared at me. We cannot continue to regard each other so warmly. A bitter taste is the proof of an effective medicine. Let us approach this in a more rigorous manner for the time being, so that your obligation can be cancelled quickly. Saika-san's gaze did not waver.
お手洗いもでしょうか。
おいおい、それくらい構わねえじゃねえか。
I sighed. Please, do not misunderstand. I'm not trying to agree with Saburo here. Yes, normally I would accompany you into the bathroom. I shook my head to clear it of hesitation. But as I have already granted your request in that regard, I will continue to honor my word.
おお、さすが武士。
Ken stared at me. If any problems arise as a result of this, I'll not hesitate to revoke my permission. You understand? That felt a bit too weak and generic. Saika-san fell asleep before I did, as usual. Ken was sleeping deeply himself. He was so still that I could have mistaken him for a corpse.
なあ、正臣。
Hmm? I could see Saburo's eyes looking at me amid the darkness.
いつ試験が終わるのかね。
Who knows?
おいおい、仕方かよ。
What will be, will be.
というと
It does not matter how thorough we are in our supervision of Saika-san if Hozuki Ari does not approve of our efforts.
でも、なんかできることないかね。
What's this? Have you gotten some motivation?
いやよ、女が待ってるんだよね。とっとと高等人にならねえと困るんだわ。
Oh. Well, everyone's circumstances were different.
その女さ、運のない子でさ、失火で人の家を燃やしちまってさ。
How the fuck do you do that? I see. You're aiming to become a high-class individual so you can look after her. Not an uncommon motivation. I hope you know that there is no guarantee you will be assigned to supervise her, even if you do become a special high-class individual.
いや、必ずなる。
His tone was steady.
そう約束したんだ。あれ、なんか俺寒くね？力んじゃってね。
Well, I understand.
すまんね。
You seem to be more dedicated than I thought.
とんでもねえよ。俺に惚れてるのはその子だけじゃねえんだぜ。
I won't press you for the details. Saburo was perhaps a sloppy man, but he possessed a charm that soon endeared him to others. By the way, regarding the prisoner hiding in town,
うん。俺も嫌な予感がするな。
I would say there's about a 90% chance the situation is a trap set up by Hozuki.
罠だとして何だって言うんだ？
I don't know. It might just be some form of entertainment for her.
最近何か変わったことあるか？
Anything strange. I found myself looking down at Saika-san. Saika-san's attitude toward me recently has been quite...
やけに？
He had a nasty grin. That is... I chose my words carefully. Perhaps over-familiar would be the word for it. My words held a tinge of doubt.
おめえに心を開いてくれてるってことじゃねえか？
Perhaps. In any case, her demeanor keeps throwing me off. Something about it just felt odd. I think she might not be taking me seriously enough. I knew there was no way that was possible, but... What's so funny?
いや、早く試験が終わるといいなって。
He laid down on the floor, licking his lips. Apparently he did not intend to prolong our conversation. From now on, I'll be treating Saika-san more harshly. Saburo didn't respond. Perhaps appropriately, As my words had been directed to myself in the first place. I found myself waiting on Saika-san outside of the bathroom again the following day. Are you not done yet?
すみません。もう少し。
Her voice wavered. I do not intend to rush you, but we will be late for school if you take much longer.
せかしてんじゃねえかよ。
Shut up.
怖っ。なーけん。
I ended up waiting for over 20 minutes again.
じゃ、いってらっしゃい。
That's certainly sketchy. Like, what is she doing in the bathroom for 20 minutes? I mean, I guess when you bathe, 20 minutes is fine, but if you go to pee or poop, doesn't it like usually end in like 10 minutes? Like peeing is basically like what, 5 minutes at most, even for a girl, right?
ケンちゃんはお願いしますね。
おしめとかいろいろ買い込んでおくわ。
お金ありますか？
ナイス。
ちょっと待っててくださいね。
She took a purse out of a nearby drawer. I could tell that it was absolutely packed with bills.
ありがとう。必ず返すわ。
いえいえ、私の子供でもあるんですよね。
They're really taking Ken quite easily.
確かにそうだね。
Saburo, I don't think a special high-class individual should be too proud of borrowing money from a rehabilitee.
忠告ありがとう。
That said, I am flat broke myself. It seemed it was up to Saika-san to pay for it.
それでは行きましょうか、阿久津さん。
Alright.
ケンちゃん、行ってきますね。いい子にしてるんですよ。
Ken did not return Saika-san's smile.
今日も暑いですね。
Yes,
雨降りませんね。
indeed. We walked slowly down the road, side by side.
今日の晩ご飯何になさいます？
Do as you please.
見てください。珍しい蝶々ですよ。
Oh. Saika-san was always like this. She pursued nothing but the most casual and inoffensive topics. Whenever there is a lapse in conversation, she must attempt to enliven things once more. Rinse and repeat.
阿久津さん。
What is it?
いえ、のどかですね。
Yes.
こんな毎日がずっと続いたらいいですね。
You have got to be kidding me. You wish to remain a rehabilitee?
いえ、決してそんなことはないです。
She would have me remain a special high-class individual cadet as well.
すみません。失言でした。
No, I understand. I'm sure you meant nothing unpleasant by it. It was merely an idle longing for peace and relaxation. Perhaps I was simply a bit on edge today.
おはようございます。
I mean, you did say last time that Hosuke was trying to put the seed of resentment in you. And as aware as you are of your feelings, or, you know, your thoughts too, it's also gonna affect you in some way. Can't exactly control your feelings 100%. Her usual greeting to the usual classroom. The students had no idea that a dangerous criminal was on the loose in their own town. A bit of questioning was in order.
不審人物ですか？
It was best to let her know about it now. Being that she was required to stay with me at all times, she would hear about it sooner or later anyway. Do not worry about it.
気にするなと言われましても。
Yeah, see, that is what he said in Japanese. Kinisuru na. Treat it as you would a ghost.
余計に気になります。
Don't worry, I'll protect you. Her eyes widened. Something the matter.
いえ、時々映画の俳優さんのようなことをおっしゃいますね。
Huh?
ドキリとしました。
She was blushing. It is a special high-class individual's duty to protect his charge.
わかっています。 けれど、とても嬉しいです。
I was beginning to feel slightly embarrassed myself. Was what I said that discomfiting? That's a word? Discomfiting. Oh my god, I went to... Okay, there's actually a Merriam-Webster page for this one. To put someone into a state of perplexity and embarrassment. Okay. Same as disconcert. Saika-san smiled gently at me. I've actually never seen a movie before. Enjoying the art of film was a luxury afforded only the wealthy.
では、今度一緒に見に行きませんか？
Don't be I suddenly realized something. If you want that to happen, you had better hurry up and get this obligation of yours cancelled. Saika-san wasn't phased in the slightest.
義務が解消されたらですね。頑張ります。
Well, I could just consider this a bit of additional incentive. Later in the day, I once again found myself waiting on Saika-san in the restroom. Saika-san spent quite a long time in the restroom. Perhaps all women were like that.
ちょっといいですか？
A friend of Saika-san suddenly initiated a conversation with me. I'm afraid I cannot oblige you if you are here to complain about my surveillance of Saika-san's restroom activities.
わかってます。前にもこういうことがありましたから。
That would mean that her former special high-class individual did this as well. What is it that you need?
ミーナさん、最近どうです？
I'm afraid I do not understand why you are asking that. She looked concerned.
ごめんなさい。でも最近、なんだかとっても楽しそうだから。
She has. The girl nodded, her eyes sparkling.
あなたが来てからですよ。
She was different before I came here?
うん。よく笑うし、気が利く子なんだけど、自分は楽しめてないみたいな感じだったから。
Oh. I didn't know how to respond to that.
とにかく、みんなミーナさんが好きだから。でも、親友にはなれないのよ。ミーナさんがやんわりとみんなを遠ざけるから。
I'm sure you already know this, but her obligation mandates as such. If she gets too close to someone, it will be impossible for her to hide her faults from them, leading to conflict. I guess her obligation is not to... I don't know. Her obligation is kind of weird. It said privacy, right? The obligation of not having privacy. But it feels like the obligation of making those around you feel happy and not uncomfortable. The girl's smile grew distant.
ほら、あの子って全然悪くないでしょ？だから、早く自由になれたらいいなって。
Yes, I understand your feelings.
あなたが一番そばにいるんだから、ほんとお願いしますね。
I'll make an effort to do so. The girl took her leave. Having said what she wanted to say, I was the person closest to her.
どうされました？
You took a while again. I collected myself and turned to stare at Saika-san.
すみません。
She lowered her head in gesture of apology. I know you have no control over your own physiology, but please try to finish things as quickly as possible, so as to avoid having too much time to herself.
すみません。
She looked like she wanted to vanish. Really though, I suppose that is somewhat of an unreasonable request. Yes, there were some things a person simply had no control over. I ignored the droning of the teacher, instead taking the opportunity to ponder the current situation. What was the best way to get this obligation cancelled? And how on earth was I supposed to please Hozuki Ari? By the time I managed to strike a source of inspiration, school was already over.
今日も一日お疲れ様でした。
Saika-san, we need to have a talk. The light of the setting sun cast a scarlet glow across her face. I will act. Sorry, I will act as a villain.
はい。
There is no doubt that you are a good-natured person. However, people are only able to persist in a good nature if the people around them are good-natured souls themselves. That's true. I will act with malice toward you from now on. I wish to see if you can withstand such an onslaught. Saika-san wilted in confusion.
私を攻撃ですか？
From now on, you will be dealing with a treacherous, insensitive, self-serving, and crooked person.
私は殴られるのですか？
I will not employ violence. That went against my principles. I shall cancel your obligation if you can maintain your composure in the face of my villainous actions.
期間はどれくらいでしょうか？
She seemed to be in a panic. There is no sense in drawing this out. This was my last resort. If it failed, I would merely be causing her unnecessary pain. We will continue this for 2 full days. If all goes well, you will be released 3 days from now.
わかりました。私は阿久津さんを信じるしかありませんから。
Does it really work that way though? If you are the one that's telling her that that you're gonna act villainous towards her? Looks like it's not gonna work. Let us begin. If I recorded the events from here on out in fine detail and submitted them to Hozuki, she would have no choice but to accept my request. I intended to employ methods resembling her own after all. Someone who can strike a woman without provocation and laugh about it afterward. I'm sure that Hozuki would have been forced to acknowledge Saika-san's progress had she not lost her nerve at the time. Hozuki told her that she could expect far worse when she returned to the city, and she was exactly right. Saika-san would need to be able to handle the pressure of upholding the traditions of a high-class family, dealing with verbal abuse from other women, and entertaining the whims of high-ranking government officials and other members of her family. One couldn't even begin to compare these people to the amiable residents of this town. Let's go. Don't dawdle. I spoke curtly. Saika-san adopted a resolute expression. My method was surely the correct one. Hey, I turned around.
何でしょう？
Sweat dripped from her forehead. How many times do I have to tell you to pick up the pace? I shrugged briskly, ignoring Saika-san.
すみません。
I grow wary of your apologies. I do not care if you are unathletic. Stop acting like a spoiled brat.
すみません。
Shut up. Do not apologize. I scowled at her. I'd never had problems with subjugating others. All right. I came to a halt. I forgot something at the school. I'm going back to get it. What is it? Any complaints?
いえ、戻りましょう。
It feels like he's a drill sergeant now than anything. He's just like being mean, right? She was already out of breath. Her stamina must have been quite lacking. When you're working as a priestess, you'll be required to remain standing for the entire duration of ceremonies.
わかっています。頑張ります。
Then hurry up and get your feet moving. I jerked my head in the direction of the school. I hadn't forgotten anything in the first place, of course, so I exited the classroom immediately upon entering it. Saburo was nowhere to be found when we arrived at the house. The sun has already set. We ended up wasting quite a bit of time thanks to your sluggishness. I scolded her.
すぐに夕飯の支度をしますね。
She had settled down after we had entered the house. She wore a smile once more. What are you making tonight?
はい。牛肉と夏野菜の炒め物にしようかと。
How extravagant. She appeared to have misinterpreted my sarcasm as a compliment. I encountered countless amounts of starving children in the war. Filthy flies flitted incessantly around their emaciated bodies. It was the same way when I was growing up in the slums. Everyone stole to eat. Everyone killed to eat. I lowered my voice and glared at Saika-san. Though I'm sure an upper-class lady like yourself understands nothing of the wants of the needy.
わかりません。
Even though you visited 7th Street in the past. Oh, sorry about that. Something was caught in my throat.
それは
I bet you were driven there in some luxury car by an attendant.
はいそうです。生活していたわけではありません。
Her expression tightened.
阿久津さん
Stop acting so meek. It's disgusting.
すみません。阿久津さん。あのですね。
What is it?
演技なんですよね。
If she acted like that, it would defeat the point of this exercise. I wonder. I leveled my gaze upon her again. Maybe this is what I'm really like, Saika-san.
そんな
I hope you haven't forgotten that I've had to endure countless hardships in my quest to become a special high-class individual. I cannot count the amount of brushes I've had with death. Do not group me together with children who spend their time learning happily in school. Now hurry up and make dinner. Saika-san lacked the energy to respond. She simply headed back into the kitchen. I guess even if you tell her that you're acting, when you do such a good job of it, people would really just question you. During dinner, Saburo returned, carrying Ken on his back.
いやー、ケンはほんとむっつりくんだわ。
His grin vanished as soon as he took a look at how we were acting.
あれ、まさかの喧嘩？
You haven't even touched your food. Eat something.
食欲があまり
あ、なんか顔色悪いね。
You intend for me to eat something you will not?
違います。ただ先ほどのお話が身にしみる思いでして。
さっきの話って。
I pounded upon the table. The tableware scattered with a clang. Saika-san's expression grew ever more forced. And isn't that exactly why you should not leave even a scrap of food behind?
それはよくわかっています。わかっているのですが。
Stop acting so timid. Sit up straight.
はい。
She bowed, whimpering. No matter how many people in this world are to die from starvation, that fate shall not be visited upon you. You have been blessed since birth. What is wrong with taking advantage of your blessings?
っていうか、俺シカトされてない？
Like, Saburo is quick on the uptake though. He definitely already knows that this is just acting. But a girl like Mina, I guess, could not differentiate when someone's... I don't know. It was bath time. I stood closer to Saika-san than was usual and began to harass her. Look at those cow udders on you. Oh my god! Masaomi, are you serious? Physical appearances now? I mean, that is like one of the easiest thing to insult someone with. She shrunk away from me. Your body is quite provocative for a child.
ひどいです。
She said, that's cruel. I just said what everyone is thinking.
みんな
You're going to be standing in front of huge crowds of people, aren't you? You'll even be on television. What a celebrity. Your body's not displeasing to the eye. Do not forget that you will have to deal with the lewd gazes of countless men. I continued speaking indifferently. Saika-san's expression began to morph into one of fright and of despair. You'll have to interact with people who want nothing more than to spread rumors about you and tarnish your dignity in the name of entertainment. I started to wonder how Saika-san would fare after cancellation of her obligation. I knew that it was impossible for a special high-class individual who fixated on minute details of his charges' private lives to effectively manage multiple rehabilities at once, but... Oh, sorry. We're not even past the first few hours. What? Are you giving up already? I began to get fed up with her. Kosuke might have been right. If her obligation had been cancelled already, she most likely would have been crushed beneath the world's malice. Her dignity had vanished without a trace. Saika-san went to bed immediately after we exited the bath, but it was still quite early.
おいおい、マチャオミくん。ミーナちゃんはどうしちまったんだよ。
Ken's eyes met with mine again. Maybe it was just my imagination, but he seemed angry at me. Very well, allow me to explain the situation.
"なるほどね。思い切った手に出たな。
He didn't seem too convinced. For better or for worse, it has already ended in failure.
そうなの?
I didn't think Saika-san was that weak of a woman. Saburo clapped his hands together, seemingly astonished.
知らなかったの?
What? You're telling me you realized this already?
いや、だって、俺も長所ちょっと読んだけどさ。要するに、実家が嫌になって家出したわけだろ?
Indeed.
俺の家もさ、父ちゃんと母ちゃんが厳しい人で、よく絞られたけど、だからって逃げ出したりしなかったぜ。
I did before. I got caught by my brother, though. Same here. I sighed. Saika-san's family is not a normal one. I do not think it is wise to compare her situation to ours.
それだけじゃないぜ。
Saburo waved his hand.
ミーナちゃん、友達いねえじゃん。いそうでいねえじゃん。
As a result of her obligation.
だから、あんま深く踏み込まれたことないんだって。
I see. In other words, she has never been hurt before.
そうそう。俺、友達超多いからわかる。
It would seem that Saburo understood Saika-san to a greater degree than myself. For some reason or another, this knowledge gave birth to an unpleasant feeling I couldn't quite describe.
でもまあ、ミーナちゃんにとってはいい経験になるんじゃねえか。
He was trying to make me feel better.
1日や2日で乗り越えられるようなものでもないだろうけど、悪に立ち向かうための心の持ち方ぐらいは覚えてくれるかもな。
But will that be enough?
義務が解消された後のことまで気にしてんのか?
Essentially.
へえ。
I thought you weren't supposed to think about that. He heaved a sigh of wonder.
だったら、お前が支えてやれよ。
Me?
どんだけ強えやつでも、たまには誰かの助けがいるもんだよ。
How logical of you.
例えば、今ここで、俺はお前の相談に乗ってやってる。
A smile came to my lips.
じゃあ、ミーナちゃんはお前に任せるとするわ。俺は、ケンの世話と、例の逃げた囚人を探すことにする。
I don't think we need to concern ourselves with him. I doubt you will have any effect upon our exam either way.
いや、学園の友達とか町の雑貨屋のおばちゃんとか、そういう人たちが危険にさらされるっつうのは、どうにも気分が悪い。
You almost seemed to imply that the exam was secondary to all of that. Saburo, you're the kind of person who is going to end up making a mistake for the sake of someone else one day.
なんだよそれ。
Nothing much. I just felt like saying something cynical. Saburo smiled.
じゃあ、もし俺が失敗したら、お前が尻拭いをしてくれよな。
Very well, I responded, snorting at him, praying that his words remain a joke. Because for once, Saburo's eyes held not a glint of laughter as he spoke those words. We slept in shifts following that exchange. The thought of visiting cruelty upon Saika-san again the following day weighed heavily upon my mind. Saburo took Ken somewhere early in the morning. A tense atmosphere settled between Saika-san and me. Hey.
Hi.
She looked pale. I'm bored. Talk about something.
わかりました。
She didn't try to meet my eyes.
今日はまた一段といいお天気ですね。
What? Is that all you know how to talk about?
えっと。
She nervously clasped her hands together and tried to think of something to say.
そういえば今日の授業は、いえ、最近ひまわり畑に。
What? You're not being clear.
阿久津さんは好きなお花とかありますか？
I have no interest in flowers. Besides, I thought I told you to talk about something. Why are you questioning me?
すみません。何をお話しすれば阿久津さんに楽しんでいただけるのかわからなかったので。
You're too passive. When you return to the city, your position will demand that you are able to engage in active discourse with others.
でも私趣味の一つもありませんし、人を楽しませるような話題なんて。
So a person without hobbies is incapable of entertaining others.
そういう意味では。
This is a complete waste of time. Let's go to school. I preferred my hand to her, thinking to pull her along, but she merely gave a frightened look.
よう、おはよう。
Ugh. Kozuki Ari was leaning against the school gate, waving in our direction.
おはようございます。
なかなか勤勉に仕事をしているようだな。
Saika-san's grim expression probably clued her into the fact that I was trying something.
私の真似か？阿久津？
Correct. I have no intention of employing violence, though.
そうだな。暴力はいかんな。暴力を振るわれて育った子供は力で全てを支配できると思うようになる。
True. The look in her eyes made it clear she was talking about me.
いつまで続けるつもりだ？
Until tomorrow night.
なるほど。では、その翌日にでも一度チェックするとしよう。
Will her obligation be cancelled if her results are satisfactory?
約束しよう。
Isn't that wonderful, Saika-san?
嬉しいです。
She smiled. Ah. I'd forgotten to act and smiled at her.
楽しみだな。本当に。
She couldn't contain herself.
では、あさってだな。
Well, in her eyes, these are probably like, two fools acting how they should not be acting. Of course.
もし、何の進歩も見られなかった場合は、わかるな？わかるな。
Death, was it?
どういう意味でしょうか？
I could not offer her a response to that question. You'll not be disappointed. Excuse me. Saika-san.
なんでしょう。
She was visibly shaken. You can loosen up a bit.
わかりました。
She exhaled deeply. Can you handle this?
弱音を吐いてはいけないと頭では分かっているのですが。
I think you should try to assert yourself more strongly. You're going to lose sight of who you really are if you keep trying to be unobtrusive like this. Unobtrusive, there you go. My words were foolish. Saika-san's obligation forced her to suppress her own personality and affect unobtrusiveness. Yeah, there you go. She was compelled to live a life of obsequiousness. Oh my god, obsequiousness. What is obsequiousness? I feel like I've seen that word before, but I forgot. How do you spell that? Obsequiousness. Marked by or exhibiting a fawning attentiveness. Okay. So very detailed.
阿久津さん
Not good. Showing her hesitation would disrupt her state of mind further. Such matters aside, you must shape you into a person capable of dealing with the malice of others. She looked downward and sighed.
阿久津さんのようになれればいいんですけど。
Me?
はい、とてもしっかりしていらっしゃいます。
And just what would this girl know about myself?
先ほどもほおずき先生に釘を刺されていたようですが。
I was finished if Hosuke didn't see improvement in Saika-san in 2 days.
どうしてなのですか？阿久津さんはどうしてそんなにどっしりとしていらっしゃるんでしょうか？
What's wrong? Why are you raising your voice?
知りたいんです。阿久津さんのこと。
She looked very vulnerable for a moment. It is nearly time for class to begin.
はい。
Please try to cheer up a bit. You will worry your classmates.
そうですね。皆さんが待ってます。頑張らなきゃ。
Man, what is this? What is this farce? You're not supposed to try hard for anyone's sake except yourself. This freaking farce. And thus began another day of attending to the wants and needs of others. Saika-san was chatting with the students as she usually did.
夏だし、ダイエットしなきゃね。
ですね。
ミーナさんは必要ないでしょ？生まれつき美人って感じだよ。
A natural beauty. I had to agree.
私、昔は太っていたんですよ。
冗談でしょ？
The rest of the girls seemed very shocked.
しんくんたちからおまんじゅうって呼ばれていましたから。
Well, manju is like, you know manju. Mochi, basically, right? Well, not mochi, but it's like buns. More like steamed buns, yeah, manju. Shinkun was a term used to refer to siblings in a family of the Shinto priesthood. She most likely peppered her speech with such terms in an effort to erect a sort of wall between herself and other people.
頑張ってダイエットしたんですよ。
She wore a smile. This was obviously a lie. She never went on a diet. She lost the weight as a result of stress.
教室のお花にお水やってきますね。暑いから枯れちゃいますよ。
She began watering a vase of flowers that no one else in the classroom would have ever paid any heed. I'm sure that it was always this way. She spread herself too thin and ended up losing weight as a result. Actually, I stopped Saika-san before she could leave the room to fetch water. Isn't the ribbon on your uniform a little dirty? She examined it.
朝にご飯を食べた時に。
Is it okay to leave it like that?
はい。
I hear that in Shinto families, you can face serious criticism simply for wearing gloves that are too short.
はい。私もよく注意されていました。
Look like I brought up some unpleasant memories. Did the other ladies of your neighborhood treat you as a laughingstock because of your poor manners? I continued trying to do so.
すみません。以後気をつけますので。 お許しください。
That is not what this is about. She looked confused. Old high-class wives like that have nothing better to do. They don't care whether you apologize for your actions or not. They only care about the fact that you made a mistake at all. That alone is enough for them to spread rumors about your family. She seemed to have remembered something.
家の品位を傷つけられたと、ご婦人方が激怒していらっしゃったことがありました。
I bet they were smiling behind those masks of anger. If you have the time to worry about such things, then devote it to making sure they do not happen.
はい。
She trudged out of the classroom deflated. The school day's tedium had finally ended. It had been so peaceful recently that I was starting to feel a bit rusty.
お待たせしました。
Saika-san came out of the bathroom. You took too long. How many times do I have to tell you?
すみません。
Is a small bit of time you have to yourself that important? She didn't answer. Well, have you truly understood the weight of your obligation? You understand the pain of a life without privacy? She spoke, cutting through her vacillation? What is that? The inability to decide between different opinions or actions. Indecision, okay.
はい。辛いです。
Good. You start thinking more like a criminal.
家にいた時のことを思い出します。
I mean, like, I get it if she were actually doing something warranting to be a criminal for that this is something you should be doing to them, but is really running away from home all that big of a deal? What the hell, dude? Then again, maybe I'm biased right now. What?
家にいた時も一人になれる時間なんてほとんどありませんでしたから。
Stop complaining. I finally realized something. Even if her obligation was cancelled, the life she would return to would be no different than it was now. But that's exactly why you need to change yourself. Be it the country or the city, you cannot expect to live a fulfilling life if you do not change yourself for the better.
強くなる？
That might be a different thing because she said Suyokunaru. That's like Suyoku is like power, right? Be more powerful is what Masaomi is saying. That's right.
無理ですよ。
I've never seen this side of her before.
阿久津さんのおっしゃる通り、私は毎日人の顔色ばかり伺っていて、自分なんてないんです。
This was her true self. The person she was never supposed to display in front of others.
すみません。私、阿久津さんに謝らなければならないんです。
What?
私、本当は
She hesitated.
ずっと義務を負ったまま、この町にいたいんです。
I can't let that slide, can I? I start to feel a bit nervous.
だって、家に比べれば、ここは天国なんです。自然がたくさんあって、住民の皆さんはとても優しくて、すごく仲の良いお友達はいないけれど、それだけでもいいんです。
There were criminals like this in the series I had borrowed from Higuchi. People who came from countries which were so impoverished that Japan's prisons were a paradise in comparison, and thus committed crimes solely so they would be imprisoned.
私のせいで、阿久津さんが死刑に合格できないのは、本当に心苦しいのですが、すみません。無理なんですよ。
She muttered the words, Someone like me can't do it. Again and again. Almost like some kind of chant. She had such a low opinion of herself.
なんとかなりませんかね。なんとか阿久津さんが試験に合格できませんかね。私、阿久津さんのためなら何でもしたいんです。いえ、何でもしたいんですけど、私の義務だけはこのままにしてもらえませんか。
Anything in my power, Mina. That's what you should say. I simply shook my head. Let's go. The person standing before me wasn't a princess of a high-class family. She was just a selfish little girl.
おう、おかえり。
Saburo was waiting for us, holding Ken in his arms.
今よ、ケンを風呂に入れてたんだ。でもダメだな。こいつにはガッツがねえよ。
It would appear that you have yet to locate the prisoner.
目撃情報はあったんだけどな。
Oh, the details?
町の八百屋から野菜が盗まれたらしい。ボロボロの服を着た長身の野郎が走って逃げるのを見たってさ。
Committing further crimes. How foolish.
あとは天帝の部下らしい警官にもあったな。十数人のグループで町に入ってるらしい。
I see. Things are starting to get busy around here. Saburo waved at Saika-san.
ミーナちゃん、元気？
どうもです。
苦笑いはやめてよ。罪になっちゃうぜ。
すみません。笑います。
She adopted an unnatural expression. It must have been the same expression she used to make it through the day back at home.
まずそうだな。
He dropped his voice and whispered to me. Kosuke Ari is going to check up on her the day after tomorrow.
いや、無理だろう。
If she does not determine progress has been made, it is the end for me.
模試は俺に任せろ。
Though it is quite likely that my failure equates to your failure as well.
やっぱり？
ご飯になさいますか？
そうだね。うまい飯を頼むよ。
いえ、お口に合えばいいんですけど。
合ってるって最高だって。
でも私簡単なものしか作れなくて毎日飽きてしまいませんか？
I think this is getting detrimental. Masaomi! This is getting detrimental, dude.
そんなことないって。そういえば毎日焼き魚ばっかりだけど飽きてないって。
You don't sound too convincing.
すみません。私って得意なことが一つもないものですから。
いいじゃん、美人なんだから。美人は何しても許されるんだって。
Saburo, no.
辛い時に辛いと言えませんし、笑いたくない時にも笑うしかありませんし。
Ken started crying as Saburo and I exchanged a glance. I had already lost my motivation for playing the villain. I had torn at the scabs of her old wounds in an attempt to release her from them.
すみません。無言で。
I wonder how many times she had apologized by now.
私のような人間の監督についてしまって本当にやりづらいことでしょ？
You mean a rehabilitee who didn't wish to cancel their obligation? I had to say, the difficulty was rather appropriate for the final exam.
よく空気のような存在になれたらって思うんです。誰も私に注目しないんです。発言にいちいち傾聴されることもなければ噂話をされることもないんです。
It's impossible for someone in a position that stands out as much as yours.
目立ちたくないです。
You don't want to stand out? Something hit me. I thought you performed at foreign music. She looked surprised. Probably because I had told her not to talk about music. I would say that anyone who chooses to express themselves artistically desires to stand out on some level. Can you really say that you have no desire to express yourself? No desire to be recognized by others? As someone who felt no need to express himself, I couldn't help but think that she did.
それは
She was lost in thought. Had she truly been so affected by my chance musings? I just wanted her to find a source of pride, I suppose. But she offered me the same sigh as ever in response.
前に一度お母様の記者会見がありまして、私が式場を取り仕切るお手伝いをしていたんです。
Yes. Families of the Shinto priesthood had their own Kisha clubs, after all.
神職の家も昔とは違って自由な気質を求められています。だから記者の皆さんにもリラックスをしていただけるようお菓子を並べたりタバコの灰皿を勧めたりしていたんです。
What's a Kisha club? Oh, okay. Clubs for reporters. Interesting. I have never heard of this term. Yeah, it's called a reporters club. Interesting. Japanese News Gathering Association. Oh yes. I believe I read an article about that. The journalists all praised it highly. Apparently they found themselves quite at ease.
でも私は後でお母様にこう言われたんです。記者がタバコをくわえたら火をつけるなんてまるでキャバレーのホステスじゃないですかと。
I mean, I guess I can understand where that criticism came from. Cruel.
私は和やかな雰囲気を演出してお母様に認めてもらいたかったんです。でも失敗でした。定められた通りの堅苦しい記者会見にすればよかったのです。
I mean, her family probably really upholds tradition in the highest esteem. So yeah, with a radical mind like hers, I think she wanted to be radical, right? Since she did say she liked hip-hop and rap music.
あの家はすべて規則です。自分を表現することが許されないんです。移民音楽の作詞なんてもってのほかでした。阿久津さんのおっしゃる通り、私には人に認められたいという気持ちがあるのだと思います。けれど私は実際には人の顔色を伺ってばかりなのです。
Her smile was a bitter one.
発表した詩もとても幼稚なもので、大勢の方に笑い物にされました。
I mean, who cares if people laugh at you?
だからもういいんです。一人にして欲しいんです。
I nearly left the bathroom out of consideration for her. Such was the pain in her voice. I'd like to let you be by yourself, but my job won't let me. Sorry. Her apologies were having an effect on me. It was obvious that I was starting to sympathize with her. Saburo had fallen asleep while holding Ken. I was in the midst of collecting my thoughts while watching Saika-san sleep. I could not become a special high-class individual without canceling Saika-san's obligation. However, what awaited her after the cancellation of her obligation could not be seen as an improvement to her current life. Was I being too easy on her?
阿久津さん、
Saika-san stirred. You were awake?
ちょっと寝つけなくて。
What's wrong?
いえ、なんだか申し訳なくて。
About what?
私の情けない態度を見て不快になられているのではないかと。
Yes, she had certainly been acting quite glum the past few days. I cannot say you have been acting appropriately for someone with your obligation, but it causes me no personal offense. Furthermore, you have continued to act normally in front of your classmates. You have not yet committed a crime of any sort. Not yet. If this attitude of hers persisted, she would likely end up perpetrating a violation and being sent to a concentration camp.
よかったです。
She muttered. Hmm?
阿久津さんは、私のようにはっきりしない人間は、お嫌いだと伺っていましたから。
Well, it's more that I'm not very good at dealing with them. I crossed my arms and stared down at the floor. To put it another way, I feel like you've been throwing off my rhythm ever since we first met.
私も、お会いした時から、阿久津さんは何か違うな、と思っていました。
I see.
ええ。
An uncomfortable silence fell across the room. Our gazes met. Saika-san's eyes were almost frighteningly lucid. Perhaps this too was a result of her noble lineage. A long time ago, I broke the silence.
昔
Didn't you say you wanted to know more about me today?
知りたいです。とても。
She seemed to be expecting something great from me. My house was located in the slums. We ran a bar. My father was the type of loser you'd find on every street corner in the slums. Apparently he had used to own a business in the city, but it had failed at some point. He'd always grumble about how a friend had stabbed him in the back. He was well known for being an unpleasant man. To be honest, he was nothing more than a petty thug who'd never fail to get drunk and raise hell every night. None of our neighbors cared too much for him either, as one would expect. My mother left our home when I was still young. She was a beautiful woman. Fortunately, she seems to have been taken in by a rich family who paid a visit to the slums. There are many curious tourists such as Saika-san who visited 7th Street in order to see the birthplace of foreign music.
こんなことですか？
She opened her mouth for the first time. Quite fortunate indeed compared to staying with my father.
でも、阿久津さんはお母さんと離れ離れになってしまって寂しくありませんでしたか？
I had more important things to be thinking about at the time.
考える？
How I could continue to live, for example. What will be the source of tomorrow's meal? Is there anywhere to sleep where my drunken father won't find me? Would it be better to join a gang or find gainful employment? Yes, I had many important things to think about. I couldn't waste time with things like that. I'm not saying that I didn't feel lonely. It's just that I realized that life is too long to hold grudges against people. That's actually a very good point. Words poured from my lips as if I were drunken. Eventually, my father simply died. A special high-class individual arrived, investigating charges of blackmail, and he chose to resist. Perhaps you'll think I'm heartless for saying this, but I harbored no special feelings toward my father. I guess that's a typo, either. In fact, I felt a certain sense of awe toward a special high-class individual who had so easily dealt with my biggest source of fear at the time. I could not quell my thoughts about this man and how he was permitted to crush people beneath him like insects.
その事件が阿久津さんが特別高等人を目指すきっかけになったのでしょうか？
That may be so. I can recall it vividly even now. The sharp glint in his eye, the golden symbol of power gleaming brilliantly on his chest. A member of this country's most feared elites. After that, I once again found myself with many things to think about. I sought lodgings in a temple and began to question what I saw there. There were people much older than I there who continued to rely upon each other's benevolence. Why didn't they think about things as I did? How long did they plan to continue living like this? I burned with a childish ambition. I thought that I was superior to them. I knew not the first thing about their situations. How conceited. I finally received the opportunity to prove this with the first Sharin conflict. I'd come to the conclusion that the country must either come to ruin or experience a revolution in order for someone of the lowest social class, such as myself, to obtain wealth and power in a single generation. I promptly applied for the army and left for the battlefield. I'd already lost both of my parents. What more had I to lose? I applied for countless dangerous missions and devoted myself to them. My comrades were fighting for the sake of friends or family, but I fought for myself. They killed because they were ordered to. I killed because I chose to. Perhaps that attitude is why I sustained only surprisingly minor injuries. Eventually, we suffered defeat. I returned to our country after receiving my pay. This time I thought that perhaps if military might could not control the world, there would arise an age where money would. In order to acquire money, one must have power and influence. I made use of the connections I established during my time in the military in order to secure a position in a university specialized in producing special high-class individuals. If I had attempted to apply normally, I would have been refused due to my origins. I studied there for about 2 years and then embarked upon the special high-class individual exam. The exam was not as difficult as I had thought it would be. If you'll excuse me for sounding a bit conceited, it is rather manageable if you understand the main idea behind it. The main idea being to understand what the teacher is trying to tell you as quickly as possible and to abide by the rules while doing so. One test comes to mind in particular. It was administered under the guise of a memory investigation. I was made to sit directly in front of a teacher in a dimly lit room. I was to present a number of questions to a cadet in a separate room. I had a button at hand. I was suppressed every time they answer a question incorrectly. Oh, this is actually a real psychological test. Not a psychological test, but it was an experiment for psychology back in the day. It's actually an illegal experiment. And it would apply a gradually strengthening electrical shock to them. The current began at 15 volts and would increase by 15 for every wrong answer. I began to hear groaning from the other room, but I was told to continue pressing the button. Eventually their groaning became screaming, and they began pounding against the wall, begging for the experiment to be stopped. My instructor attempted to persuade me to continue every time I hesitated. He told me that the exam needed me, that there was meaning in what I was doing, that this was not something I could decide on my own. I realized what the purpose of this experiment was as I listened to the other cadets' screams. It was to determine how far I would submit myself to authority. I came to that conclusion because the instructor kept telling me that I did not need to take responsibility for the results of the experiment. It felt like the instructor was pushing the button, not myself. When the exam was over, it revealed that the person in the other room was an actor. The cadets who stubbornly refused to press the button were branded as failures, confirming to me the validity of my conjecture. I passed that test with flying colors, achieving a score of over 500, the highest in its history. It was all but an idiotic farce. Saika-san was listening to me intently. I realized how short of a person's life truly was once I realized how strictly the world was governed by rules, and how powerless people were to go against them. I paused for a moment, then spoke once more. And that is exactly why I must bend these rules. No, I've already bent them. How else would the son of a drunkard from the slums have made it to the special high-class individual final exam? I sighed, trying to suppress my agitation. I'm sorry. I seem to have bored you.
いえ、
Anyway, that's the life I've led. It is not particularly fortunate or unfortunate. Saika-san frowned.
ルールをねじ曲げて、
Her voice shook.
それから阿久津さんはどうするんですか？出世なさってお金や権力を持って、それでご満足なんですか？
I don't know. Perhaps I merely endeavored to make my environment more pleasing for myself.
そうですか。
I spoke despite myself upon seeing her close her eyes in sorrow. Although, I seem to have strayed a bit from the path of humanity in the process. I did not mourn my father's death, and I did not feel regret for killing others. That's why I want to make it easier for people like me to have a chance. This was something I had never told anyone before. In order for people to be able to live more comfortably. Because it was such a cheesy, abstract ideal to hold. I wanted to change the rules for that purpose. Such remarks could get you arrested if the wrong people hurt them. There was a moment of silence. The warm summer breeze caressed our skin.
最後のお言葉から阿久津さんの強い意志が伝わってきました。
Yes, I am serious about this.
私のような小娘に大切なお話をありがとうございます。
I shook my head. You have too many things you can't afford to lose. The position you were born into, the expectations placed upon you by others, you're the opposite of me. And that was probably why she threw off my rhythm.
確かに正反対ですね。阿久津さんは環境を変えてきたのに、私は環境に飲まれるだけですから。
She smiled sadly.
でも本当にありがとうございました。
It was nothing.
少しだけ勇気が湧いてきたような気がします。
Really now. Just have some more confidence in yourself. I've come this far relying only on my own ideas and judgments. I spoke a bit nervously. Do you have anything that you can bet on? You can bet on. I'm sure you must. You managed to survive the pressures of a high-class family without succumbing to psychosis after all.
かけられるものですか？
Something you can lose yourself in. Something you can be so desperate for that you forget all about everything else around you.
それは
She had a moment of epiphany.
詩を書くことです。下手ですけど、全然ダメなんですけど、それでも好きですから。
Well,
発表した時は皆さんに認められませんでしたけど、それでもまた書きたいという気持ちは消えないんですよね。書いている時は夢中なんです。唯一誰の目も意識せずに済む時間で、なんというか私が私らしくいられるんです。
I remembered Saika-san's words from our first encounter. I'm no longer myself. But that is not allowed. I ruined the atmosphere we had established.
はい。私は詩を書いたことで義務を負ってしまったのです。
She returned to her usual self. The law would not permit her to express herself in a manner all her own. As long as you understand.
すみません。作詞の話をしてはいけないとご指導をいただいていたのに。
No. I'm partly at fault for saying things to feel your emotions. I try to shake off my feelings of indecision. Do remember that writing poetry is prohibited.
はい。
Promise me, I don't want to have to send you to a concentration camp.
わかりました。
Her expression clouded over. Well, please don't get too worked up about it. I'll change the rules eventually. You just have to deal with it until then. I meant it as a bit of a joke. I had no idea when I would reach the level of power that allowed me to revise the laws. Apparently, however, my joke was so unfunny that she did not even treat it as a joke.
信じます。
She looked at me straight on.
阿久津さんを信じてます。いつも、いつまでも、ずっと。
My heart suddenly began to ache to an excruciating degree. Let's get some rest. We talked for quite a while. I laid down on the floor.
阿久津さん、
I heard a timid voice from above.
阿久津さんに一つお伝えしておきたいことがあるんです。
She seemed quite tense.
非公正人の身分で不謹慎なのは分かっているのですが、どうか。
I couldn't respond.
いえ、その。
I didn't even understand my own feelings. I was curious about her. That was the only thing I could say for certain.
なんでもないです。おやすみなさい。
Only one more day. Don't give up. I listened to Saika-san's breath until the sun lit up the eastern sky. And I was choking a bit there during the whole thing. It was quite the sad exchange. I don't remember much about it, actually. Hey, is that Toka? Yeah, that is Toka. Pretty funny. This is where I gotta end the episode, though. Man. Pretty sad story for Hozuki, or Masaomi. I actually don't remember the ending of this story, by the way. Like, I wonder what happened in the end. This actually does feel like a blind playthrough again. It feels nice. That's the thing about our memories, right? The feelings when you play them are there when you play them. But memories are memories. You don't have like... We're not omnipotent or omniscience like God. We're gonna forget at some point. Even something precious to us. And that's why we need to keep reminding ourselves that something is precious. I feel like playing my favorite visual novels once every couple of years is actually a good thing to do. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I really enjoyed this one. So, I'll see y'all in the next episode. I wonder how much longer it is gonna be. See ya.